Welcome to the Pitch Your Pick podcast, a podcast where we dive deep into the sports books, find our favorite plays, pitch them to each other to find the best bets every day. I'm Joe. This is Jay with his wonderful Rockets hat. How you doing today, my man?
I'm doing good. I didn't have to work today. It was a second perfect night on the row for me on the podcast. I went 4-1 with my
Yeah,
personal bet, so it was a really good day.
yeah, we love that for you. That's great for you. So we'll switch it over real quick to yesterday's performance just so we can take a quick peek. Tatum's over. That was a really easy one. The Penguins money line versus the Knights. That was an easy one. The Hornets, boom, easy. That was actually a mollywhopping. The Hornets dropped 142 on the Pelicans. It was unreal, man. Just no defense at all. Hunter, really upset with that when he had 12 points and we just needed him to score one more. He wasn't able to do it. Scotty Barnes also got really close. He had 8 and just needed to get to 10, so that was kind of tough. And for the Fridays with Fran pick, I'm pretty sure he got to either 26 or 27, so he was right on the cusp there too. So very, very close to being a 6-0 night. But we end up just 3-3, which we'll still take even days on the podcast. Look at Jared, the first time being 4 over on positive on anybody for the podcast, so he's on an absolute eater right now. So we're gonna need to slow him down a little bit on that, but we'll see how it goes. So I guess, we'll start it off like we always do. Bring it right on over to the NHL slate. Cover that really quick, and Jared can tell us what we should be looking for.
Yeah, so we have 10 games in the NHL tonight. Scrolling through the games, there aren't a ton of great, interesting ones. There's a lot of big spreads I'm seeing. Some interesting games are the New York Rangers and the Dallas Stars, or the Ottawa Senators and the Chicago Blackhawks. Also the St. Louis Blues and the Nashville Predators game looks interesting. The game I'm going to talk about tonight is actually the Seattle Kraken and the Montreal Canadiens. It's coming a nightly ritual when the Canadiens play. I talk about them. And I'm actually loving this slate for props. I was working on my cheat sheet earlier, and there's a lot of green tonight. So,
yeah, we love that then. We love that. Yeah, make sure you check out Jared's Twitter. Links will be in the description, so you can get all those wonderful cheat sheets. A lot of great stuff going out there. Twitter's been killing it too, so you guys have still even find your way. For the NBA slate tonight, it's all right. I'm not really loving it. You got the Heat playing, so Timberwolves unders are looking absolutely juicy right now. So go snack some of those whenever they're out. Raptors and Nuggets is meh. Cavs, Bulls could be interesting. Pacers and Spurs, I don't really know how to feel about that, but we'll see how it goes. The Bucks versus the Warriors, which we talk about a little bit later. Kings, Jazz, and Wizards, Trailblazers. Honestly, there's a lot of games, but I just don't really care too much about them.
not a ton of interesting ones, really.
Yeah, it's like there's games, but I don't really care.
Games. That's about it.
I don't really care.
Games.
I'll be spending my time tomorrow watching college basketball because there are a bunch of great college basketball games tomorrow. So that's where I'll be spending my time. We have Texas A&M who upset Auburn yesterday playing Arkansas. So we'd love to see that. Indiana and Iowa are playing. Kentucky and Tennessee, which we will be talking about. This game is going to probably be the best game of the night, for being honest. Or it's going to be this Texas Tech versus Kansas game, which is also going to be just absolutely insane. So super excited to see those. Duke and Virginia Tech. And then UCLA and Arizona, which I'll be just throwing in as just like a quick little bonus play that I may or may not count for my podcast record, depending on how it goes. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. I may cheat it a bit, but still, there's a great slate of games. Even if you take out a top 25, again, there's just a bunch of games going on. You got Cornell and Princeton playing right here for the Ivy League semifinals, UMBC and Vermont for the America East playoffs finals. Like, just, again, there's so many games. It's just a great time to be a college basketball fan. And actually, tomorrow we'll be covering the, what was it, March Madness bracket on Sunday. Or
the March Madness, the 14th.
Tomorrow we'll be recording when the brackets will be dropping. So we'll be recording tomorrow for the Sunday podcast, but on Sunday night, we'll be recording for Monday's podcast where we'll do the brackets. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to work because the brackets are going to come out Sunday night. So it's going to be a difficult one to get. We won't be able to really get it out Sunday at a good time. But Either way, there's a lot of good games. We're going to finally be figuring out what is going to be going on for these, 68 teams that are going to be playing. It's going to be crazy, but I think it's going to be a fun one. So, since we both have 2 bets, or I kind of have 3 bets, you have 3 bets.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I guess we both have 3 bets in a way, so you're still starting off.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, I'll start in the NHL, but as I said, we'll talk about the Montreal Canadiens playing the Seattle Kraken. And this is another classic matchup of the bottom of the barrel. However, as much as I hate to admit it too, this Canadiens team is starting to grow on me, and that goes against everything in my Toronto Maple Leafs fan values. The Canadiens gone 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they're starting to play some exciting hockey. The Canadiens haven't just been beating bad teams either in their last 10 games. The Canadiens have beat the Edmonton Oilers, the Calgary Flames, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. For the Kraken, their season's only getting worse. Over their last 10 games, they've gone 1-9. Tonight will mark their 5th straight game on the road and 3rd in 4 days. The Kraken, over their last 10 road games, are only 2-8, and there's really nothing going right for this team. The Canadiens have been putting the puck in the net in bunches recently. Over their last 10 games, they're averaging 3.6 goals per game and only giving up 3.10 goals per game. At the other end, the Kraken have been allowing 3.9 goals per game, and over their last 10, they aren't scoring either. They're only managed 2.3 goals per game over their last 10. The Kraken goaltending has been a problem all year. They've only been expected to give up 101 goals, but they've actually given up 144 at 5-on-5 play. The Seattle Kraken right now are mixing and matching lines, just trying to throw anything out there to see if it'll stick. These 2 teams have played once back in October, but I'm not really taking anything from that because Montreal is playing completely different recently. I like the Canadiens to get the win tonight at -115.
Yeah, you're becoming a little biased Canadiens fan. Look at you. Look at you. I feel like you've pitched them so often that I'm kind of liking the Canadiens as well. So I feel like we may have a bit of a double bias going. If I'm gonna tune into a game, I might start tuning into some Canadiens one. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I got a lot of March Madness to watch, but maybe we'll take a peek. I'll go with it for you. I'll give you the dubs here. You've been on a heater, so I feel like I can't say anything against your picks because
everything's working recently.
Your logic's working. You're hitting on all cylinders. I just kind of have to accept it and give you your dubs. Honestly,
give me the flowers, boy.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. So I'll just hop into mine immediately instead of trying to spit some fugazi on why it's bad because I have no clue. But we'll be taking it to that Bucks Warriors one real quick. Jared and I talked about this one a bit earlier just because I just think -1 for Milwaukee is crazy out here. So I'll be taking Milwaukee to cover this -1 spread. And it's just weird that it's even like that. I mean, there's no Draymond Green, there's no Otto Porter, there's no Gary Payton II for the Warriors, and the Bucks are relatively perfectly healthy. I mean, there's no Pat Connaughton, but they still have guys who can fill in those roles and have been playing fine for it. So I honestly just feel like only being -1 for the Bucks is a bit weird, especially considering the Warriors just look better with Draymond in the lineup. He's the anchor of the defense, and he really just helps these guys out. So it's not really looking great. On top of that, the Bucks are 4-1 at the spread in their last 5 road games, and the Warriors are 1-4 in their last 5 home games. So the Warriors have been terrible at home, and the Bucks have been pretty damn great on the road. So, it's looking pretty good. Now, both of these teams have been in a slump, but they both performed great in their most recent games. And I just don't think that the Warriors have anybody that can contain the Buck or Giannis, not even just the Bucks, just Giannis on this team. I mean, the guys that are going to be guarding him are probably Jonathan Kuminga and Kevon Looney, who, let's be honest, they're good defenders, but they're not Giannis stopper defenders. They're just good defenders. So I really just don't see a time where Giannis doesn't go off. Last game without Draymond that these teams played, Giannis had a 30-point triple-double and looked like he was just coasting to a victory where they won 118-99 at home. It really just seems pretty easy out here because the Warriors only shot 37% from the field, and if the Bucks can get back into that championship shape, I just think the Warriors, without Draymond Green, just really can't do it. If they had Draymond, I think this would be a different story, but without him, I just think that -1 is a bit wild there. But, who am I to judge?
Yeah, no, that I like I didn't even realize when you were talking about it earlier that they beat them by 20 or whatever it was the last time they played.
Yeah, Giannis had a cakewalk into a triple-double.
Yeah, I just looked at it too. The lineups are going to be basically the exact same from that game, so I don't really get the line here at -1.
Yeah. It's easy. It's easy.
Easy. I'm not overthinking it today.
No, all right, we'll move on. What do we got next?
We're gonna go to the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Chicago Bulls.
Ooh, and I was looking at this one a little bit. Okay.
And tonight the Cavs are on the road at the Chicago Bulls. The Cleveland Cavaliers are on the second night of a back-to-back and are coming off of a loss to the Miami Heat. As I mentioned on the podcast yesterday, the Cavaliers are without their all-star center, Jared Allen. They've now played 3 games without Allen and have given up more than 115 points in their last 2. And the total has gone over in the last 2 games as well. However, this new trend of overs for the Cavaliers didn't just start when Allen got injured. Over the last 10 games, the Cavs are now 7-2-1 to the over on the road. And on the year, the Chicago Bulls have been pretty good to the over. They're 18-15-1 at home this season to the over. But a lot of their totals have been set really high in the upper mid 230s. Although recently the Bulls haven't been as good to the over. The total has only gone over twice actually in the last 10 games. However, the total's set at 220.5, and the Bulls have only had 2 games set with totals under 230 in their last 10 games. This year, these two teams have already played each other twice. The total's gone over once and it's gone under once. In these games, the total was set at 213 and 214. So we're getting quite a bit higher number here. But that's due to Jared Allen being out. The Cavaliers' pace has ticked up a bit since Allen's injury. And I think between Garland, Sexton, and DeRozan, this game is going to have more pace than the books expect. The Bulls aren't a great defensive team either. They rank 18th in points allowed, 18th in opponent field goal percentage, and 25th in opponent 3-point percentage. The Bulls haven't been playing that well recently either, but 4 of their last 5 have been on the road. We know the Bulls would much rather actually play at home, given they're the best team at home against the spread this year. Even with this crazy run of unders the Bulls are on, they're still 5-5 to the over at home over the last 10 games. And with the Cavs still being on the insane run to the over on the road, I think this total is set slightly too low. With Cleveland being without their defensive anchor, I expect DeMar to be able to get whatever shot he wants tonight. The dude's been a monster at home this season. So I'm going to lay over 221.5 here.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I will say there's 2 slight concerns here. One in that Zach LaVine is possibly iffy, as well as Vucevic. If neither of those are playing, it may be a bit tough. And also, you mentioned that Sexton would be playing. That is not the case. Sexton is basically out for the season.
I didn't even realize that.
For the Cavaliers, but
doesn't affect me either way.
No, they've been out like 30 games. I think the only thing that's going to be concerning for you is if both LaVine and Vucevic don't play. I think if either or still plays the game, it'll be fine because I mean DeMar's been able to carry this team with one of them at least every single time. But if both don't play, it's concerning. But I think for the most part, they'll probably just
Vucevic is listed as probable.
Yeah, LaVine is also like they haven't really definitively said yes or no to him. So who knows? It's also a Cleveland team. It could be a competitive game, so I think he would want to play. But he did play the last game against Detroit, so I feel like he probably will. That's just the only concern
LaVine's
that I would say.
Been on the injury report for months.
Yeah. Feels like. Yeah, but that's just simple. So I like it. I'll take it. We'll move on. We'll do a quick one today. We'll just start cruising through these, and we'll be going to that Kentucky and Tennessee game that I was talking about. I mean, number 5 versus number 9 in the country. How could I not take a peek at this? I mean, come on. It's just simple. So for these two, they're going to be playing down in Tampa, Florida. So obviously it's neutral court. This is the SEC tournament. You know, you don't want to give an advantage to anybody. And it's going to be a battle of 2 of the best teams, obviously, in the country at number 5, number 9. Now, Kentucky has the number 4 offense in the country and number 27 defense in the country, and they're facing off against Tennessee, who has the 36th offense and 3rd defense in the country. They faced off 2 times this season and split the games. The first being a 107-79 win for Kentucky, and the second was a 76-63 win for Tennessee. Both of these teams won the games at home, which really isn't a surprise for SEC games. Usually the road is quite hard to win. Both these teams really can just do a mix of everything. They're both really versatile teams. I just think Kentucky is just the better overall team. They're more versatile and they're just better in general. They're 64th in the country in 3-point percentage. They're 39th in the overall field goal percentage, 17th in block percentage, and 64th in fewest turnovers. And they are the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the country, thanks to Oscar Tshiebwe, who is an absolute animal. This guy averages 17 points per game and 15 rebounds. 5 of those are offensive rebounds every single game. And Tennessee is a good rebounding team, but against Kentucky, who is literally the best at just bullying inside and constantly getting offensive rebounds, it's going to be really tough. If you give them any second chance opportunities, they are going to capitalize. And this Kentucky team averages 80 points per game. It's going to be pretty tough. Now, the reason I like Kentucky here at -2 is Tennessee is a great team. They're just slightly worse than Kentucky in almost every single category when you look at it, besides some defensive metrics. I just think, a Kentucky team that is 26th in lowest 3-point percentage and 74th in lowest overall field goal percentage, given the fact that Tennessee is only 233 in overall field goal percentage. It's just not looking amazing for Tennessee out here. Both these teams have been playing pretty great. Tennessee's won 5 straight. Kentucky's won 3 straight, including winning against Vanderbilt last night. They have had some offensive woes for Kentucky. Sometimes they just can't get it clicking. But last night against Vanderbilt, they shot 45% from 3, had I think a good 10 offensive rebounds as a team, which is absolutely cooking it. And I think that so far, Calipari just doesn't play around once it comes to this, playoff time. And I really just see, Kentucky taking this one at a quick -2 in general. Pretty easy.
Yeah, no, that seems pretty straightforward, honestly.
Yeah, I think both of these are amazing. It's just Kentucky just is a bit better.
Yeah, no, that's what it looks like here. It just looks like a very strong defensive team versus a very strong, or who's also a very strong offensive team versus a very strong defensive team who's slightly worse offensively.
If Tennessee can get the 3-ball going, though, despite how great Kentucky guards it, this really could be a crazy game. And this isn't me saying at all that I think Kentucky is going to win by like 10 points and this is a crazy, -2 spread. I think that this is going to be a consistently like 2 to 3 point margin game back and forth the entire time. I just think Kentucky, if I'm being honest, it's going to be like 68-68. Kentucky hits a layup right at the end, 70-68. They win the game, or just 2 free throws right at the end to bring us to 2. I think this is going to be a down to the wire, just close, really fun to watch game. And I will for sure be watching it when it comes around at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Let's go back to the NBA.
Screw the NBA.
The game I'm going to talk about now is the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Miami Heat. This Miami Heat team is actually becoming another round tripper on the podcast nightly. So the Minnesota Timberwolves are on the road tonight to take on the Heat. These are 2 of the best teams to the over in the NBA, actually. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the most profitable team to the over, and the Miami Heat are the second most profitable team to the over in the NBA. On the road this season, the Timberwolves are 26-7 to the over. They're on an absolutely insane run offensively this season. They are by far the most profitable team to the over at home. Looking at the Heat team, they're the 10th most profitable team to the over at home. And they have a record of 17-14 to the over. The Timberwolves are coming off an embarrassing loss to the Orlando Magic, so they'll be coming out looking for revenge.
Oof.
This Miami Heat defense is intimidating, but I've spent plenty of time talking about how strong the unit is. However, their weakness is that they give up a lot of threes. The Miami Heat ranked 25th in opponent 3-point field goals allowed, and the Timberwolves lead the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. On the other side, the Miami Heat have plenty of shooting themselves. They rank 17th and or 7th in three-pointers made per game, and Minnesota ranks 22nd in opponent three-pointers made per game. Or yeah, ranks 22nd in opponent three-pointers allowed per game. In the Timberwolves' last 7 games, the total has gone over 5 times, and for the Miami Heat, they're 6-4 to the over in their last 10 games. This total's set at 225.5. In a game where both teams are going to have some tired legs, I expect to see a lot of open threes being put up between these two teams who love to shoot the three ball. I'm going to take the over here as well and not overthink this one.
Yeah, fair enough. You got two teams that are good to the over. I will say Minnesota is filled with a lot of very wishy-washy players that either hit all their shots or hit none of their shots, which can be a bit concerning, but they have been cooking.
The record to the over does not say that.
Listen, that's just because one of them will at least hit it, but we all know Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell every now and then are going to be shooting 3 of 13.
They're also the best team in the NBA to their team totals, too. So.
I'm just saying, they got some inconsistent guys, but as a team, they are great.
Spit and fugazi.
Spit and fugazi, okay.
Straight fugazi.
8 of 17 against Golden State, 8 of 17 against Cleveland, 2 of 11 against Toronto. Well, I'm just saying.
Try 41 and 25 to the team total over. And the next best team's 37 and 27, and after that, 38 and 28.
Hey, I said individuals. I didn't say as a team they were inconsistent. Right. I said they had individual players that sometimes be missing some shots. But both teams go over a lot. You can't really disagree with it. Oh, and then the last game, I guess I'll talk about really quick. This is just kind of a gut feeling pick. I actually didn't do any research on it. I just saw that Arizona is a +1 against UCLA. So I was like, yeah, I'm taking that. Easy money. Thank you very much. Arizona is just one of the best teams in the country. Obviously, they're ranked 3rd, and UCLA is ranked 7th. This is going to be a battle of just 2 of the best teams we've ever seen in college basketball. And Arizona just likes to run the ball, man. They are the 7th offense in the country, 17th defense in the country, and they're just all around great. They have the 5th best field goal percentage, and they allow the 1st lowest field goal percentage to opponents. They're also a great 3-point shooting team. They're insanely fast. They love to run the ball and just get down there and sprint. I think they're actually 7th in the country, and they are also, I think, one of the tallest teams in the country as well. So not only are they fast, but they're tall, they're super versatile, and they're great defenders. And I personally love this Arizona team. I also really like this UCLA team. UCLA's 15th in offense and 11 in defense, and they allow the 5th fewest turnovers, which is just crazy. And I got to say, Johnny Juzang on UCLA may be my favorite player in college basketball. The guy's just offensive game is so smooth, so clean. Like, I just love watching him play. But Arizona took their last matchup, 76-66, although I think UCLA did win the first one. But I just think the way that Arizona has been playing, they're my championship favorites right now. And I just think going into this that they should be, the -1 favorite here. But I'm going to take them at +1. I just think this is going to be not an easy game for Arizona, but one that it just doesn't seem like UCLA can take, because UCLA is kind of one of those small ball, like really, 3-point shooting heavy ball movement kind of teams. Whereas Arizona is tall, fast, and I just feel like it's just one of those matchups that isn't great for UCLA, but they can take it if Arizona has an off night. But I really like this Arizona team. If I had to pick a championship favorite, it might be them. So I'm going to take them at +1 here versus UCLA, I think, in the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I've heard a lot of buzz about this Arizona team too, not even following the sport.
They are good.
They did win their last matchup, but Arizona is 1-3 against UCLA this season. And UCLA has covered the spread in those first 3 games by 9, 12, and 19. So that's a little intimidating.
Yeah, I will say they, what is it? They both, who is it? UCLA just played.
I know nothing if there was injuries in that game, those games or whatever, but I have heard a ton of buzz about Arizona being a championship favorite.
Yeah, I mean, when you just watch them play, it's the eye test, man. You watch Arizona, you're like, damn, this team is just crazy.
I usually would lean towards probably a bigger physical team in college basketball too.
Yeah, what I've also noticed is like this year, dude, the spreads are crazy. I've been looking at them. Obviously, I took 2 spreads on college basketball today, but it hasn't mattered any. Once it comes to this tournament time, you never know what's going on. And I think the consistent play of Arizona being a insanely good offense and defensive team, being fast, being physical, being stupid tall, and being a lot deeper of a team. That's one thing that I forgot to mention. They have a pretty good percentage of bench minutes. And whenever I watch this UCLA team, they just don't really seem to sub in too many players. They really rely on tough shots, very contested middies and 3-point shots. And sometimes, obviously, when those don't fall, it can be a pretty tough game to win, which is why I just like Arizona. Because if you watch some of these, they have their big men. Their 7-footers are running full court on the fast break and just getting wide open layups. You let too many of those go on, and it's just easy games, easy pickings for Arizona out here. And Tommy Lloyd is a no BS kind of coach. So I don't think Arizona is let anything slip this time. I think both of these teams want to make a statement that they are it for a first seed. And I just think Arizona is going to be taking this one. So just gut feeling on this one. It's not, 2 numbers based. I'm just like, you know what? I think Arizona's got this. Basic and simple.
I don't mind that. I don't mind it.
So I guess we finished our picks. Look at that.
I don't mind it at all.
Look at that. We finished our picks. Look at that. All right, so we'll get that the daily pick screen ready for all you guys. We'll be there in a second. All right, so here are today's picks. Just a quick little recap. Bucks -1 versus the Warriors at -106. Canadians money line versus the Kraken at -111. The Bulls versus the Cavs over 220.5 at -111. I said -111 for the last one. It's -117. Kentucky -2 versus Tennessee at -114. Arizona +1 versus UCLA at -110. And Timberwolves versus Heat over 225.5 at -110. I'm not going to say anything about the picks because I've been wrong every single time I've said it. I tried to jinx it yesterday and you still went 2-0. So I just, you know what? I'm going to have to give up on it if I'm being honest. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, like the video. Comment down below what you guys think. And make sure you hit that subscribe.
Subscribe!
What are you doing? Hit the like button too. It helps out. Oh, and if you're listening on any of those wonderful podcast platforms, the Spotify, the Apple Podcast, maybe a Google Podcast, maybe you're one of those guys. And if you are, we love you just as much. Leave us a nice little 5-star review. It always helps. Make sure you go out there, make some bets, preferably some of these bets, and go make some money.
See ya!